Come on in, come on in, come on in. I hope that y'all are well. Come on in, come on in. I'm gonna wait a few minutes. I actually wanted a darker one. Come on in, come on in. I hope that y'all are well. Well, I was gonna say happy Friday. No, my day's off. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, come on in. And I hope that y'all are well. I'm gonna wait a few minutes. Today we're talking about how many women may be regulated, but they're not rewired, which is why they keep repeating. And we're gonna dive into that today. So just come on in. I hope that y'all are well. If you don't know who I am, my name is L. Antoinette. Hi, Lovey. I am a psychological identity strategist, and what I do specifically is I support my amazing clients who are high-functioning women. I support them in the areas of being able to lead, love, and earn from emotional power and not survival mode. A lot of women are leading from that space, which is why they're burnt out. They're burnt out, they're exhausted, they're all over the place, they are not getting the results that they're looking for. It's just a lot that's going on. And so my goal today is to support the high functioning women who think that they are healed, but they're stuck in the same emotional patterns, okay? Because that's the conversation I think we need to have. There are a lot of healing conversations that are taking place, but there's not a lot of actual healing taking place. Because if you're repeating the same emotional patterns in relationships with money, in your friendships, in your relationships with family, then that might be a sign that the healing that you thought took place actually didn't. And so we're going to talk about that a bit today. Specifically, we're going to get into some key areas about the difference between regulation and rewiring, what that looks like, why it's important, all that jazz and all that great stuff, okay? So put a 1 in the comments and let me know that you can hear me clearly, and then also let me know where you are watching from, okay? While I adjust these little strags that's getting on my nerves. So let me know in the comments where you are watching from before we get into today's topic, because a lot of people think regulation equals rewiring, and it just doesn't work that way. Oh, hold on, y'all. Let me put this phone on Do Not Disturb, but somebody will think regulation equals rewiring, and it just doesn't work that way. Oh, hold on, y'all. Let me put this phone on Do Not Disturb, but somebody will call me. All right, and let me know in the comments where you are watching from, because I'm getting back on my travel in 2026. I've been taking a bit of a break, but I'm about to be back at it. So I need some places to go. So let me know where you're watching from. And I'm also considering doing more in-person type of things in 2026. But they're only going to be in specific spaces. Hey, Arizona. I absolutely love Arizona. Love Arizona down. I couldn't live there, but I love it down. The energy there just makes me feel very, how can I describe it? Calm, very peaceful. There is a canyon that I actually want to see. I think it's called Low Antelope or something like that. So I plan on going to see that sooner than later. Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and get into this because I'm not going to be here long. Again, my name is L. Antoinette. I'm a psychological identity strategist, and what I do is I support high-functioning women in the areas so that they can, hey, lovey, so that they can lead, love, and earn from emotional power in not survival mode. Yes, I saw. I keep seeing the videos, and this is how I know I'm going, right? Look at me get sidetracked. The fact that I know I'm going is because when I saw the video, I started crying. I'm such a, I be crying, child. So when I see stuff and it makes me feel emotional, I know that I'm going to visit there. Some places I know if I get emotional in that space that I'm going to live there. So yeah, it's just kind of different every time. Like when I visited Houston for the first time, I knew I was going to live there. Houston is one of those, places where I can go and do a great reset. And I did live there for a couple of years when I was married. Absolutely loved love being there. So it's a great reset. Okay. So, for those of you who are not familiar with a psychological identity strategist and what that looks like, a psychological identity strategist, thank you, my love, teaches high capacity women how to rebuild their internal architecture. Okay. Um, and this internal architecture is of who they are spiritually, psychologically, and emotionally, so that they can actually live, they can lead, and they can love, and they can earn from their true identity versus or rather than the survival identities that they've created to be able to work or to be able to be themselves in the spaces that they are in right now. So that's the work that I do. We're talking about, like I said, you're regulated but not rewired. And we're going to get into that today because a lot of high functioning women tend to believe that they are healed and they are good to go, when in reality, it's a bit of a struggle. Wait, hold on. I don't think the right version is on my screen, on my iPad. Hold on one second, y'all. Let me make sure, because I feel like I'm missing something by looking at my thing, like something is off. Okay, no, I actually have it right. Okay, good deal. All right. So before we go ahead and get started, I want everybody to take a breath, because I'm going to say some stuff that's probably going to make you look in the mirror and feel like, I thought I worked on it. I thought my healing was good to go. You know, I thought everything was done. Yeah, I know. We all thought that, but guess what? We might get some rude awakenings today, okay? So when you get this rude awakening, just know it's going to be okay. But you need to know, all right? So today we're going to be talking, or I'm going to be talking to the woman who's doing everything right. She's healing, she's regulating, she's self-aware, she's journaling, she's praying, she's breaking cycles, right? These are all the things that she's doing. But the reality is nothing in her life is actually changing at the level in which she knows that it should be changing. We have this thing where we can kind of sit in a baseline and be like, oh yeah, this is fine, when in reality it's not fine, because you know you're actually supposed to be going further than what you're doing. If that's you, welcome, because we're going to talk about it. This live specifically is called You're Regulated but Not Rewired, because most high functioning women are stabilizing their emotions, but their identity, which is going to be very key in this experience, in your life experience, your identity is so crucial, and being in alignment with your identity is so crucial, because a lot of women's identity is still running on outdated architecture. Okay? So we need to shift that. And we need to shift that ASAP. And so by the end of this live, you'll be aware of what's necessary to shift that, and you'll be in a position to make a decision about if you want to shift that. Let me start this out by saying the work that I do is not for approval, it's not for applause, it's not for amens. I don't need an amen section. My results are my results. Women that come to work with me have three major results. Number one, they make more money. Number two, they get healthier. Number three, they have better relationships with the masculine, and they have better relationships with feminine community, okay? Which are all very vital if you want to thrive here. Because I know a lot of you are out here saying, oh, decenter men, which that's fine. There's no issue. But you have to also understand that you're going to have to deal with men in this world. So if you don't really know how the power of yourself, if you don't really know your feminine energy, if you're not really rewired and reprogrammed, you're going to have a very difficult time dealing with them. And I'm not even talking about romantically, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. First and foremost, thank you, my love, for this guest. Hi, Wanda girl. Regulation does not equal rewiring. And thank you for these likes. I really appreciate it, okay? Regulation does not equal rewiring, all right? A lot of women are like, I need to regulate my emotions. I need to regulate my emotions. No, baby, you need to rewire. Because you regulating your emotions and still being in toxic relationships, you regulating your emotions and still submitting to systems that intend to keep you a slave, you regulating your emotions in the midst of an argument and still dealing with someone who drains you is absolutely insane. Okay? Regulation is your breath. Okay? I want you to look at it like this. Regulation is your breath. Rewiring is your blueprint. The blueprint is how you operate. Okay? So it don't matter that everybody who's walking around here has breath, right? If we're walking around here, we all have breath. That's a common thing that we all have to be walking around. But most people are not walking around operating from the fullness of their blueprint. And because of that, they are exhausted, they are stressed, they are all over the place, and they are lost. And women today are lost. And I'm not knocking the things that, you know, how women are moving, but women are lost. If I get on this app one more time and I see y'all, and I'm not going to stay on this long, and I see y'all getting on y'all knees, proposing to men, it's a lot of things around there that's just, it's a lot, guys. That's all I got. It's a lot. Regulation, you need less regulation, more rewiring. If you are rewiring, then you'll know how to regulate. Again, regulation is your breath, and rewiring would be your blueprint. Regulation is what calms you down, which is what a lot of women will say that they're seeking. But rewiring changes who you become. And I'm going to tell you something. Most women that claim they want more money, they want marriage, they want healthy relationships, they want this, they want that. Most women are not an energetic match for the thing that they claim that they want and that they desire. You're just not. You're not an energetic match for what it is that you say that you desire. A lot of you were saying things like, oh, I desire to, make a whole lot of money and X, Y, Z. Well, you're not going to be able to keep that money if you don't know how to be a steward of resources. And how do you know you're a good steward of resources? It goes into what you do with your time, what you do with your energy, what you do with your attention. But before even that, you have to understand and recognize that you are all of these things. You are time, you are energy, you are attention, and you are money. See, when you know that your time, energy, attention, and money, you don't worship money. You don't do anything for money. You don't go outside of yourself to be able to get money, because you understand that the value is truly in you. Money itself is made up of 75% cotton, 25% linen. The money that y'all are hiding, just in case the banks crash or whatever, which I'm not even gonna get heavy on that. But the money you're hiding is 75% cotton, 25% linen. You can go and look this up on Google. Okay, it's public information. When the dollar crashes, you will realize that you are sitting on nothing but basically toilet paper. The real value is in the resources. And this is why when you go to a corporation and you work for them, you have to meet with human resources, because they are there to manage the human resources. Human resource is not there to protect you. They're there to manage the human resources. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. So when you understand that about yourself, okay, you start to realize that you are a resource. And when you understand that you are a resource, then you can be resourceful, which is a full-blown confirmation to the scripture Proverbs 8:12, which says that you have creative and witty inventions in your very being, which translates to you should never be broke on this earth. That's really insane, actually. To be a believer and to use the word broke in the same sentence is real kind of wild work, because that lets me know that you're not in tune with the creative and witty inventions in your very being. You're not in tune with your godlike nature. You're not in tune with this energy, so you cannot have dominion anywhere in your life. You don't have dominion over self, yet you try to have dominion over other people. And this is what it looks like for a lot of you to be obsessive and possessive over people. Hi, Lovey. And it just doesn't work when you try to be obsessive and possessive over people. They end up pulling away from you, much like money. Your relationships with your meals, your money, and men tell the truth about your impulsivity and how you attract and different things like that. And I teach you this in the free diagnostic tool that you can get from me by clicking the link in the bio. There is a feminine diagnostic tool that I'm going to tap into and give you a little bit more information on a little bit later. Hi, Lovey. But it teaches you who you attract and why you attract them, what determines your attraction based on how you operate, and some other factors as well. And all of these things, it's a free diagnostic tool that I put out there for you. It's going to give you a recommendation if you want to solve the problem. Because one thing for sure, two things for certain, women have to understand that nobody cares about your victim stories. Because most of you are not victims. A lot of you are volunteers because you don't know your threshold as a giver. You may start off in a scenario as a victim, but when you become aware of what is happening in this experience between you and another person, when you choose not to make a decision to walk from that, you are now volunteering for that experience. And so a lot of women will say things like, all these years and XYZ, but you gave your years willingly because you are in charge of your time. The time you are given, you are in charge of that time. What you choose to do with that time and how you choose to steward that time is going to be dependent upon your identity and how you see yourself. See, because here's the truth of the matter. And I try to explain this to women in relationships with men that they know they probably shouldn't be in relationships with. They'll say things like, oh, to him, oh, I know my worth. I know this and I know that. The reality of the situation is people who know their worth, you can see it in their work. And what I mean by that is you can see it in their actions. They're not trying to convince somebody to tell them, I know my worth. When you're trying to tell a corporation, a man, or anyone that you know your worth, the corporation and the man knows you don't know your worth. Because if you knew your worth, you would just simply move. You want to know how valuable you are to a corporation? I watched this happen clear as day. How you know you're valuable to a corporation is when you go and turn in your 2-week notice and they go back, okay? And they get some money to be able to keep you. They go back and they get some money to be able to pay you more because they want you to stay. When a corporation understands your value, they're going to find a way to be able to keep you. See, this is not just synonymous when it comes down to corporate. It's across the board. When somebody values you, and what it is that you have within you and your very being, they're not going to put you in a position to be able to take a risk to lose you. You're not that valuable to them. And once you realize, see, that's why you always have to be in tune with your value. Once you realize that you're being devalued in an experience, you have a decision to make. But see, women don't like making hard decisions, especially if you don't know your identity. Women who stay in relationships long past the expiration date are women who don't understand their value, women who don't believe that they can do better, women who don't believe that they can thrive after. But see, all of this is rooted around what you believe about yourself, i.e., your identity. So this is why I'm saying regulation. You can regulate yourself in a horrible relationship. You can regulate yourself at a horrible corporation that you work for. You can regulate yourself, having a conversation with your mom who's toxic. But if you don't rewire your nervous system for safety, you will continue to be in chaotic situations wondering why you were consistently the victim. It's because you haven't realized how much you're volunteering in the experience. And these are the things that we have to actually start talking about. So again, regulation is like your breath. Rewiring is your blueprint. And we only operate according to the blueprint. Okay? Regulation is what calms you down, but rewiring is what changes who you become. You can regulate your body all day long, okay? And still live from, hear me now, because a lot of this is happening with a lot of women. You can regulate your body all day long, meditating, doing all these things, and still live from the emotional patterns that were created when you were 7, when you were 14, when you were 19, and when you were 23. So I need you to ask yourself, if you have been in therapy for all this time, right? Where is the progression? What needs to happen beyond processing? There has to be a rewiring. You can still regulate, or you can regulate and still attract chaos. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. You can regulate and still be unavailable to money. Okay? You can regulate and still pick up the same emotionally unavailable men. Why? Because your nervous system is not, how can I explain this? Your nervous system may feel stable, okay? but your identity hasn't changed. And belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way you behave. I was having a conversation with a queen last night who recently just joined my new cohort of the Muse Activator that's starting on 12/10. And she was talking about one of her things being procrastination. And I was explaining to her how procrastination is not real. It's rooted in 3 different things, which I'm not going to get into those 3 things. But I'm going to prove to you really quickly how procrastination is just not real. Number one, if a very famous person, and I used this person's name last night in the thing, but I'm not going to do it on here, but just think of the richest person that you celebrity that you know or you believe to be the richest, and imagine you having a conversation with them putting a contract in front of you and saying, hey, I need you to meet me here in Turkey at 4:30 in the morning on Tuesday of next week, right? So you can pick up a $5 million check. You're going to sign that contract because you, in your mind, you perceive this person, you believe this person to be the richest person. So that's the first reason why you're going to sign that contract. The second aspect of that is that you're going to sign that contract because you believe, and you're going to do it quickly without procrastination, without even letting a lawyer check it, because you are so eager and you believe in the power of that contract. See, you got more faith in that contract and more faith in the perception of the person who is providing you the contract that you're willing to go to Turkey next Tuesday to meet at the post office at 4:30 in the morning when your grown self know ain't no post office open at 4:30 in the morning. Hell, you don't even know if it's a post office over there in Turkey. You don't know anything, but you're going to get on that plane without hesitation. You're going to call everybody you know to get the money if you ain't got it so you can be there on time. Why? Because you believe in the person and you believe in the contract. So nobody can talk to me about procrastination. Procrastination is a lack of your belief. That's the truth. That's why you're not taking action. That's why you're not moving, because you lack belief. Belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way you behave. And this is why you have to rewire your system for safety, because your nervous system believes that chaos is the calm for you, which is why you're always in chaotic scenarios, chaotic relationships, because you grew up in chaos. And if you didn't retrain your nervous system or rewire your nervous system since childhood, you're repeating the same thing as an adult. Now, you can sit here and try to play yourself in believing something different, but it really is what it is. Procrastination is not real. It's your beliefs. You've got to rewire. A lot of you are trying to figure out why you keep meeting certain types of men or why you keep running into certain experiences, because you have not rewired your nervous system for safety. You think safety is boring. That's why you don't like the boring guy. You don't want to do the boring workout, yet you talking about you want the body. You want to build the BBL body in the gym. Ma'am, coming from somebody, let me just tell you, coming from somebody who has lost 100 pounds, coming from somebody who has spent the entire year building muscle, okay? Coming from, you have to do the same thing over and over again. You have to eat the same thing over and over again. I got my meal prep set up for when I get off here. That's what I'm finna eat. Okay? Boring builds the body, boring builds the business, boring builds the relationship. Whether you want to realize it or not, you need to get comfortable with being bored. That doesn't mean you can't have spontaneity. That doesn't mean that you can't have fun. But there's going to be periods where things are just going to be boring, and you need to be okay with that. But you can't be okay with that. Why? Because your nervous system knows chaos. Thank you, Lovey. Your nervous system just knows chaos. So if it ain't chaotic, if it ain't traumatic, if it ain't dramatic, you don't really want no parts. If he not giving you hot and cold, you're not really interested. The one that's giving you straight warmth, you don't want that. You want the one that's giving you hot and cold. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these follows. And it's because your identity is off. If you really believed you was a queen, see, this is the lies that y'all be telling. If you really believed you was a queen, right? Or you are a queen, would you really be chasing after a man? Would you really be chasing anything? If you really believe that you were a queen, would you really chase? No, you wouldn't. You would allow it to come to you because that's what queens do. You never have seen a show where the queen was running out to get somebody to bring them in. Most of the time, they're bringing in people to see the queen, and she's saying yes, she want to see him. No, she don't want to see him. She's sitting, and there's boundaries in between that. See, you can't be out here labeling yourself as something that you're not going to stand in the real frequency of and expect someone to treat you like that because they're not. Calling yourself a queen and a man treating you like you are a queen is two different things. Queens command respect, and not because they say it with their mouth, but their essence and their energy does it on their own. And you can't do that with a chaotic nervous system. So let's talk about how or why these high functioning women stay stuck at the same level repeatedly and why this keeps happening. Thank you for these likes and these follows. I appreciate you all. Okay. So a lot of these women tend to get stuck because they're regulated enough to survive, but not rewired enough to ascend. And see, a lot of women are sitting right here and that regulated enough to survive. I got just enough energy to go to work. I got just enough energy to take care of my kids. I got just enough energy to do this, but I have no energy to take care of myself. I have no energy to work out. I have no energy to do X, Y, Z. That's because we need a rewiring. Because you believe that in order for people or for things to go well in your vicinity, it requires self-sacrifice. There's nowhere in scripture that tells you that you have to self-sacrifice to be in a marriage or even to work. Find it. Everything I teach is rooted in scripture, backed up by science. Find it. There is nowhere in scripture that tells you that you are supposed to come here, exhaust yourself to oblivion, pay bills, and die. Find it and show it to me. Society told you to do that. They told you to do that because society makes dollars off of your dysregulation. That's why they make so much money in the mental health industry. Now, don't get it twisted. Mental illness is a real thing. But the pimping of the mental health industry since 2020, since the pandemic, oh my God. They got y'all in a tizzy. They got y'all in a good tizzy. The majority of the world, according to statistics, and especially for those living in the States, deal with anxiety. They make money off you being dysregulated. But what you're not realizing is, and I'm going to say this one time, so I hope you hear it because I'm not going to repeat it because I know they're going to try to block me or say something. Pay very close attention, okay, to the country you live in. Because the country you live in tends to start problems. How can I say this? The country you live in tends to be very passive aggressive. They will throw a rock and then hide their hand and then tell you that the person who got hit with the rock is the enemy. Okay? You live in a country where they will tell you that you need to work on your anxiety while selling you fear-mongering programming that they know is going to not only disrupt your mental state, but your emotional state, and most importantly, your nervous system state. Okay? This is what they know. They've been studying the mind and doing experiments on so many for years. They know the impact of the mind. They know that belief impacts biology and biology influences the way you behave. They've studied it, which is why they created go look up the old info, high lovey, on the person who created the television. The goal of the television was to television. The goal of the television was for you to have a guide. The goal of the television was for you to surf the channels, right? And when you hit the channel, for that channel to program, okay? When you watch things, the majority of the time, you are watching it from an emotional state. This is why you be crying in movies. This is why you be feeling crying in shows, because what they are doing is they are recalibrating or manipulating your emotional energy. They're recalibrating your emotions in a way to where you're sucked into this experience, which is why I always tell you that you should be watching things with two set of eyes. Watch it from the emotional standpoint to get it out your system, because that's you wanting to be entertained. Okay. But watch it again. Watch it again for the narrative that they're trying to tell you and they're trying to sell you. Underline. That's the real programming. You know how we got into the state of relationships being the way they are, where women will, compromise their ethics, and you see all this foolishness with women saying, oh, yeah, we're doing this, and just making it just a whole bunch of drama. Reality TV, the majority of people got caught up in the storylines. Some of you to the point to where you can even quote some of the things that some of the people on Love and Hip Hop have said in XYZ. But you don't realize that reality TV and those shows made dysfunction popular. It gave permission for dysfunction to be out loud. It gave permission to put shame in the back. Don't be ashamed of nothing. Put everything out there. See, the narrative that was put out there is to display your dysfunction. So you wondering why people get online and they tell all their business and they doing this and doing that. Reality TV, it was a 15-year plan, because you think about how long it ran. It's still going now, but you think about the running for the last 15 years. Okay, it has been display your dysfunction, display your dysfunction, display your dysfunction, right? And they did it in such a way to where people think it's okay to maneuver how they maneuver. But here's what they didn't tell you. All while they were saying, display your dysfunction, display your dysfunction, they were watching you. You are an experiment. They're watching you. So they're watching the way you behave, and they're prepared for when you crash out after they hit you with the flex like they doing now, canceling all kind of things, rewriting history, undoing amendments, and different things like that. Displaying your dysfunction is what they want so they can lock you up. Because understand this, next year, and I've told y'all this, don't forget I told you, next year is going to be the year of heavy surveillance. Okay? Thank you, Lovey. Next year is going to be a year of heavily surveillanced year. Okay? They already started. Have y'all seen the newest article that states that if you don't have your real ID and you don't present your real ID to the airport, right, that you're going to have to pay a $45 fee? Did you see that? Now, why, if my passport is cool, and if we this and we that, if you just said that the passport was cool, so why is it now if something happens that I have to use this ID? Because, and didn't you see that message, I think it was a while back, where Apple was saying you can put your digital ID on your phone? Baby, they not only finna know what you buy, they already know that, because you put your phone number in Kroger, you put your phone number in Walgreens, you put your phone number everywhere and get them deals. So they not only know what you buy, they will now know where you are, or where you are at all times. We are going to be walking into heavy surveillance in 2026. It is the 250th year of this nation. There's going to be a lot of celebrations, but there's going to be a lot of surveillance. There's going to be more crowd control. The world by 2027, a lot of stuff that you think is not going to be the same. So the things that I'm telling you is, when I'm talking about rewiring, let me tell you something that's true. If you are not rewired and rooted emotionally, right? When they really start slapping you in the face with stuff, you're not going to be able to function. So what you going to do? Display your dysfunction by what? Crashing out. See how we normalize crashing out? You ain't going to be able to do all that crashing out because they're prepared for that, which is why they're building up all these computerized prisons. Because who you think finna feel them? Baby, they finna start arresting people for small things. You understand that rewiring and being rooted, the future belongs to the women who are emotionally rewired and who have emotional mastery. And I'm telling you, if you cannot become a master of your emotions will master you. And you will find yourself in a state of slavery. physically. You understand? Because their goal is to make you a spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical slave. Okay? Whether you're a slave to your body because you're sick, because you keep eating the poison, whether you're a slave to your emotions because you're easily triggered, because you don't pay attention to the narrative they're trying to sell, you get too caught up in the emotional aspects of things. See, you need more than regulation, baby. It's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. Okay? It's not going to be enough. So let's get back into this because I don't want to get too far out. Okay? Why high functioning women tend to stay stuck at the same level? High functioning women don't get stuck because of a lack of discipline. They are regulated enough to survive, but not rewired to ascend. And let me tell you something. I just saw a post, and I really don't like being like I told you. But I just saw a post, and it was talking about it on the news, and it was a young lady, and they were asking her, if you were talking to the 20-somethings about careers going into the future, what would you tell them? Do you know what she said? Now, if you're new here, you might want to go back and watch my video, my popular video on YouTube that I recorded in February 2023, where I talked about how most people who were not stewarding their gifts and the things that they had and investing their money properly and investing their resources and assets the way they need to, you're going to lose the little bit that you have because they closing these jobs up. You know what that lady said? She said, I would tell the 20-somethings that work, don't think about getting a title and working for a corporation. We're going into more of an independent contractor where you might be working for a couple of different, companies, and you really might want to go into entrepreneurship. You have creative and witty inventions in your very being. If you are currently working at a corporation, you need to know what your plan is if they let you go. If you go up in there and the doors close one day, you need to know what other skills and things that you have to be able to bring in income. And you need to know that now. And you need to be working on that now. Because I don't know why a lot of people think, and I said this in 2023 and people laughed at me. Job security is not a real thing. And if you think Social Security is going to be around by the time, child, it ain't going to be here by the time. I will be 42 Monday of next week. Okay? It ain't going to be around for me when I get in my 60s, baby. You think it's going to be here for you? It's not. You need to wake up. But you can't wake up if you are so caught up in your emotions to where you're not wired to do what it is that you need to do. Okay? So a lot of high functioning women are regulated enough to do the day-to-day stuff of what they're doing, but not rewired to ascend when they know they really got to come up. Because let me tell you something, the price is going to keep going up and they're not going to pay you no more than what they paying you. So you need to position yourself to receive more money. Notice I didn't say go make more money, go get another job. No, ma'am. You need to look at what you have within you already, and we need to expand on those skill sets because you're going to need income, especially if you have children. Baby, I'm out here making sure it happens. I don't even have no biological babies. I've raised a bunch of them. I don't even have no biological babies. You have children. I don't want you looking in the face of your children crying because they're hungry and you can't feed them. We got to be realistic about what's happening, and folks really need to wake it up. And I'm serious. A lot of these women who struggle to ascend, they appear very calm on the outside, but let me tell you about the patterns underneath. They are self-sacrificers. They're hyper-independent. They're emotionally irresponsible for others. They overfunction. They overthink. They collapse under pressure. They hide their gifts. Okay? They attract men they have to work on. Okay? They attract money they can't hold or keep. And they choose relationships that literally match their childhood blueprint. Hello. And I know you thought you was better than your mama, but you still have the curse of low self-esteem like she has. You just got a little bit more money. But see, that was the real thing that needed to be solved. And you thought your issue was generational wealth. No, it's the generational curse of low self-esteem that your grandmother had, your mama have, and that you have. Because those beliefs about yourself, that perception about yourself, determines your perspective and the patterns with yourself. And those three things make up your relationship with self and your relationship that you have with others and other things such as money. Okay? So a lot of women are regulated, but the architecture has not changed. So regulation really doesn't mean anything. Now let's talk about the neuroscience real quick of emotional identity. Everything I teach is rooted in scripture and backed up by science. I'm a nerd. I like to study these things. And I also am the type of woman to where I was raised, right? To where I was told what to do by my parents, but I wasn't necessarily told how to do, which is why I teach the how to do, because I understand the importance of knowing how to do something versus knowing what to do. Okay? You can know what to do, but if you don't know how to do it, you're not going to execute it in the way that you need to. Okay? So these are the things that we really, really have to pay attention to. Okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. All right. So let's get into the neuroscience of the emotional identity aspect of this. Okay. So your identity, first and foremost, one thing I need you to understand is not your personality. A lot of people think that your identity is your personality. Okay. So it's extremely important and extremely vital, right? So, let me see. Let me block this person because I don't know what they talking about, child. Because I don't feel like making no examples today. Okay. So your identity is your architecture. It's basically like your blueprint, right? It's the unconscious emotional blueprint that's shaped by the following: your attachments, your nervous system, your early experiences in childhood, the patterns that you survived in life, the roles you had to play, okay, and who you had to become to stay safe. I'm going to list those again. Okay, because I want you to really grasp this because it's really important. Your identity is your architecture. Okay, the unconscious emotional blueprint, okay, is shaped by your attachments, your nervous system, your early childhood experiences, the patterns you survived, the roles you had to play. Okay, some of you had to be parents as children, who you had to become to stay safe. Okay, you don't attract from your standards as much as you think that that's what they're telling you right now. You don't attract from your standards, you attract from your architecture. You don't rise to your affirmations, you rise to your identity. Okay? So this is why you can say things like, I'm choosing healthy love, but your body chooses survival love. You keep being in relationships that reflect survival mode. Even though you're saying, I'm choosing healthy love, or you say things like, I'm ready to be wealthy, but your system rejects receiving a compliment. I can't tell you how many women that I see that will struggle, right? To receive a compliment. Someone tells you, oh, you look so good today. You're so uncomfortable with that you throw it off by saying, oh, you look good too. Or, oh, this whole thing. You either insult yourself or you hurry up and get it off you because you're uncomfortable being seen. Okay. Thank you. You're uncomfortable being seen. Okay. And this is why, and I say this all the time, a lot of women take issue with women who are attention seeking. I don't take issue with a woman being attention seeking because I know what that is. Y'all let that frustrate you and get you angry. When a woman is being a lot and wanting to be, wanting to seek attention and doing things, or let's just say, for example, somebody comes around and she just starts acting extremely outlandish and doing this and doing that. What that is that she is trying to put an image out there. Maybe she's being funny. Maybe she's being a comedian. She wants to be seen as that so you don't take a real look at who she is and sees who she really is. So we put on this act. We laugh, we joke, we do all these things, all because it's a deterrent from you actually paying attention to me and actually seeing how broken I am, actually seeing how, hurt I am, how insecure I am, how this and how that. So they put on these things. So look at me, look at me, look at me. Pay attention to the clown suit. Pay attention to this so you actually don't see me. Okay. And so when you see a woman that's doing this, it's no point of you being upset with her or even trying to be like, she doing too much. She's she's wearing a mask like most women. Most women wear masks. She's just doing it in a way to where she's trying to draw attention to the perception that she wants you to believe, so you don't actually see who she really is. And that can be very difficult, I'm not gonna lie, to deal with, but it's a reality for most women. It's a reality for most women. Okay? So let's talk about why many women haven't rewired yet. If it was so easy to do, like why haven't women rewired? Women haven't rewired because nobody taught you your architecture. I'm going to be very honest with you. Do you know why I'm so good at what I do? I am very great at what I do, and I praise the Most High for being as good at what I do as I am. And I'm good at what I do because I can see what's not said. I can see and read in between the lines. I have a gift in that aspect, and I'm grateful to the Most High. I'm putting this on a charger, y'all, so it don't die. Make sure this on the right side. Okay, there we go. So because of that, I'm able to assess what's actually happening with women on an energetic level. A lot of women don't really understand their architecture, and I understand that architecture is individualistic. This is why some women will go to therapy, right? A lot of my clients are therapists, nurses, nurse practitioners, doctors, VPs of high level companies, spiritual guides and coaches, business coaches. I have a wide range, sex workers. I have a wide range of clientele. And the key thing with all of them is that they don't know their internal blueprint. But once they work with me and they learn their internal blueprint, it's like a light turns on. And when the light turns on, it's like you can't turn it off. So the reason why a lot of women can be going through, being in therapy for years and years and years, and there's no progression, it's just continuous processing, but no real forward progression, is because nobody is teaching you your architecture. You have to understand that you're beautifully and wonderfully made and very unique. There are not two flowers that are the same. There is no other person like you. So femininity is why I explain to women, femininity is not a box. Your authentic femininity comes from your authentic blueprint, which is why when you try to wear the mask of other creators and use their tips to get things from men, you can't sustain that because that really doesn't align with your architecture. But if you align with your architecture, you will become so magnetic that people will come seek you out. Child, you have to turn people away. I'm telling you what I know. And I'm not just telling you from my experience. I'm telling you this from the work that I've been able to do with my clients, what I've seen in them consistently. You want to be magnetic, you have to align with your architecture, okay? So this is where, and I talked a little bit about this earlier, this is where the diagnostic that I created can help you, okay? So I created this diagnostic called the Feminine Architecture Diagnostic, okay? Hear me when I say this. This exact system, okay, is going to reveal, okay, it's going to reveal the exact system that's been running your emotional life. Here are the three categories: magnetic bond vetting, feminine magnetism value, and magnetic presence value. Those are the three things that are going to be assessed. Those are going to talk about and show you who you bind to, what you attract, what you repel, what you feel or how you feel safe receiving, your emotional baseline, your capacity, okay, for healthy love, and your leadership identity. Yes, okay, Shamara, I got your message yesterday, and I'm going to respond to you. I forgot to respond to you last night. But yes, she took the diagnostic because I dropped it. I think I dropped it. Did I drop it last week? Into this week? I can't remember. But I dropped the diagnostic, and the reviews have been insane. They've been like, oh my God, I've not been able to put this in words. I've not been able to realize like what exactly it is that I'm attracting. When I tell you this diagnostic is literally the clearest mirror that you're going to look into. But I'm going to tell you something before you click that link in my bio. It's called and you can leave and come back if you need to sign up and get it. Check your spam folder to make sure if the email goes there before you DM me saying I didn't get it. Check your spam folder first. If you didn't get it, then send me a message. But what you have to understand is that don't go over there clicking that link if you're not ready for the truth. Because I'm going to tell you something about the work that I do that you need to take very serious. I have an energy about me in general that it makes people run away or it makes them rise up, men and women. If you don't like yourself, if you're not secure with yourself, you're not going to enjoy or like me, because I am going to naturally reveal who you are, because I'm a natural walking mirror. So when you come to work with me, you become responsible for what it is that you learn, what it is that you know, what it is that you are having to implement, okay? To whom much is given, much is required. I hear women say all the time, you give so much, you've done so much, you do this and you did. Yes, understand. Yeah, they are. Understand that coming to me means you're ready to be revealed, okay? You're ready to see yourself for real. And you are responsible. Hi, lady. You are responsible, okay, for what it is that you learn about yourself and that you know about yourself. At the end of the diagnostic, you're going to see a link that's going to point you to, based on your score, a product or service that's going to be best to help you. If you get love in the nervous system, you got attachment issues. And the diagnostic picked up on that, okay? If you get the muse activated, we need to do a whole identity recalibration. If you get foundations, that means emotionally you need a baseline because you too emotionally reactive. Be very, very careful what you ask for. I know that's right. That's exactly it. Be very careful what you ask for. Women come asking me things, and when they get them, you're responsible for what you get. Okay? There have been some fallout since recalibrating. You already know that was coming. Always. When you move, recalibration requires you to basically jump timelines, and it requires you to jump vibrational states. So you're going to lose people. And I think that makes women uncomfortable because we don't like loss. But loss is a part of every single reality. So when you move up from the frequency of anger to the frequency of love, most people who sit on the frequency of anger are not going to join you in love. They're not going to do it. If you're sitting on the frequency of fear and you decide to move up to the frequency of courage, a lot of people are not going to come with you. You have to expect loss. At every ascension, let me get, and we need to be realistic about this. Like, people are not telling you this, but when you ascend, you're going to lose people. And some of you are holding yourselves back because you don't want to lose people that really don't even belong. Y'all time is up. Your time is up with that person. And because you want to hold on to them, you cannot move forward in where you need to be. And that's a problem. Okay? I've been losing people this year. I've lost some too. I've lost some to death. I lost my father in August. And I've lost some in life. Just straight up boundary violation. You got to go. Okay? So what I'm saying, hey, Lovey, when it comes down to the feminine architecture diagnostic, if you're listening to what I'm saying in regard to those different things, like, you know, who you bond to, what you attract, thank you, Lovey, what you're repelling, you know, how you feel safe receiving, your emotional baseline, your capacity for healthy love, and your leadership identity, okay, then you need to go ahead and tap in and click the link in the bio to get access to that, because that explains everything about your patterns. All right? Everything about your patterns. Hold on, let me catch these. My mom is born in March and some fake friends. So I've accepted loss of people for ages. I understand growth requires separation, and it does. It does. The good thing about the diagnostic is that it will tell you where your architecture is misaligned. I lose people all the time as I ascend higher, and it's all good. Yep, you can click the link in the bio. Scroll down to where it says feminine architecture diagnostic. You're going to put your email in. It's going to email you it's like this pink form. They're going to email you and let you know exactly like who you attract, all this stuff. Scroll down to the bottom, click the link for the quiz, and it's going to allow you to take the quiz. The quiz is about 12 questions. In those 12 questions, you want to answer them as honest as possible because the diagnostic is based on the truth you tell. So don't get up in there lying. Okay? Tell the truth. So go in there and tell the truth and allow it to read you. For real. Allow yourself the opportunity to look in the mirror because that's basically what it is. Okay? Now, one of the things that has been very beautiful in the experience of identity rewiring in real time was one of my clients from the previous Muse Activator cohorts, right? And her name is Sarah. I don't know if she's on here now, but I'm going to tell you in just a second. Well, actually, when you take the quiz is going to tell you what product you need. But hold tight, okay? So the client who I was working with, Sarai, you may hear me refer to her as Eli. Sometimes she comes in and out. But I'm going to show you exactly what rewiring looks like with my client who actually lived this experience, okay? Hold on, let me hit this so it don't cut off. All right, there we go. So my client Sarai, when she came to me, she wasn't broken, she wasn't lost, she wasn't even a mess. She literally was just a high functioning woman who was anxious, who was overstimulated, who was hiding her gifts, who was terrified of being seen, who was extremely spiritually gifted but had some emotional instability. She was disconnected from the fullness of her feminine identity, and she was attracting things that were beneath her power, right? So women who normally are in that space think that they need to work on their mindset, when in reality, you don't need to work on your mindset. You need to rewire, which is what we did with her. So her transformation, she didn't just get regulated, or she didn't just get regulated. She did a complete rewiring, right? She went from hiding to visible. She went from anxious to grounded. She went from confused to spiritually clear. She went from shrinking to magnetic. She went from suppressing her gifts to women asking, can they work with her immediately? Okay? This is what happens when your architecture changes. I have several paid communities. Hold tight, I'm going to tell you about it. So this is what happens when your architecture shifts and changes. This is what a lot of high functioning women are missing. They're not rewiring. They're not rewiring. You're welcome, my love. Okay. So let's talk about why these patterns tend to survive, even though you have breakthroughs and all these things, right? Having a breakthrough doesn't erase a pattern. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. Having a breakthrough experience does not erase the patterns from childhood. Let me just help y'all out. Having a breakthrough in your finances and becoming a millionaire is not going to stop the fact that you are a people pleaser. If you don't get to the root of that issue, you're going to get that money and trick it off because you're still a people pleaser. Do you understand? So breakthroughs and experiences does not catapult you into a space where it erases your patterns, because breakthroughs have happened in your mind, but patterns live in your identity. Okay? Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these follows. So let's talk about the 7 reasons patterns survive. Thank you, my darling Kendra, right? So patterns survive, number 1, because they're familiar. Patterns survive, number 2, because they're neurologically reinforced. Patterns survive because they're emotionally safe. You cut people off because it makes you feel safe. You cut people off at the quickest thing because it makes you feel safe. That's a pattern. Okay? Patterns survive because they've served you. Patterns survive because they're tied to love and belonging. Patterns survive because you haven't, how can I say this? You haven't learned emotional leadership. Patterns survive because you've never had your architecture decoded, which is why you need to take that diagnostic in my bio ASAP. Okay? And this is why, because of all of these things and patterns surviving, this is why you keep rising and crashing. You keep healing, but then repeating, because you're not really healing, okay? You keep growing, but then you keep collapsing when life get real. This is what you have to understand, why it's so important about the architecture of yourself. And this is what I help women with, the internal infrastructure. Because let me tell you something. Women who come to work with me, we build these internal systems so you can sustain that external success. If success looks like marriage to you, you need a plan to sustain if you're going to be a wife and a mom. I know y'all like to get cute on this app and think, oh, I'm just, I'm in love and we're just gonna, y'all need to grow the hell up and really realize what y'all are asking for. When you are asking to come into a space of a marriage, you have got to know that you need a plan for yourself, because there are a lot of sacrifices that are going to come being in that marriage. And one of the biggest things that does not need to be sacrificed is you or your well-being. So if you don't have a full life and you're not taking care of yourself and you're not making sure you're good before you enter an experience with somebody else and you bring a baby into that, ma'am, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out. The reality of the situation is whatever success looks like for you, even if it's running a multi-six-figure business. I'm a CEO of a multi-six-figure business that I built from the ground up, and I've done it without hustling, right? What helps me and supports me is my systems. I'm not working all the time. I'm not doing this all the time. I don't have the capacity for that. So I set up systems to be able to support me in doing my work so that I can sustain. See, starting a business is one thing. Sustaining one is a difference. Starting a relationship is one thing. Sustaining one is the difference. Okay? So we have to pay attention to these things. So the work that I'm talking about when it comes down to what you see in your diagnostic, this work is for the woman who is tired of repeating the same emotional cycles. This is for the woman who's tired of attracting the same type of men, tired of hustling for money, tired of being triggered into old versions of yourself because you claim you ain't like that no more. But the minute somebody says something to you, you already went back. Tired of holding everybody else but yourself. Tired of being strong, tired of being stuck at the same emotional vibrational state. If you are regulated but not rewired, I can guarantee that you are living beneath your actual identity. And that is dangerous. A queen who doesn't know that she's a queen will allow herself to sleep on the street. You understand? She will sleep on the street because she don't know she got a castle. And it's all because she doesn't know her identity as a queen. And a lot of you are sleeping and being in spaces that are beneath your actual identity, which is why you're not thriving in that space. You ain't supposed to be there, okay? So if anything that I have said to you thus far has landed, okay, here is your next step depending on where you are in your life. Number one, if you are unsure what's running your life, then go ahead and take the feminine architecture diagnostic. Take that ASAP. It will show you your exact blueprint. Even if you choose not to get the product at the end that tell you that's going to help you solve the problem, you at least are going to know what the problem is. But let me tell you something before you get so excited by jumping in my link, jumping in my, my little thing, my bio, and clicking the link. Here's the gotcha, a warning. Once you get that blueprint, once you get that diagnostic, you can never say again that a man has played with you. You can never say again that somebody was trying to get over on you. You can never say these things again, because this thing is going to expose your vulnerabilities. And if you don't do nothing about it, if you don't do something about the parts of you that allow yourself to be self-sacrificed, then you will continue to volunteer for experiences that drain you and that devalue you. So tread lightly. Clicking the link in my bio. Because if you're scary and you want to be a victim all your life, that ain't the diagnostic for you. Because you ain't going to be able to say, oh, he wasted my time. No, ma'am. Let's go back to them vulnerabilities. Let's go back to how this looks in your body. Let's go back to the truth about you. Let's go back to your weaknesses here. See, You ain't got no more excuses. And that's one of the main reasons why I created this diagnostic, because I'm sick of women acting like victims when you are volunteering for experiences. Because let me tell you something, nobody can play you without your permission, participation, or the fact that you simply are not paying attention. And a lot of you are paying attention to men and what they want and what they need, but you know nothing about yourself, which is why you keep getting ate up by them, literally and physically and figuratively. All because you don't know yourself. Self-awareness, okay, without self-compassion and self-acceptance is why you continue to be a victim, because you won't accept the reality about yourself. You don't make good decisions because you're not aware of yourself. You can't sharpen your discernment if you don't know your blueprint. But knowing your blueprint makes you responsible for your life. So if you don't want to be responsible for your life and you want to keep being a victim, do not take that diagnostic, because you're going to be mad at yourself. And don't try to blame me. If you say that you'll believe and you get upstairs and you be like, well, I didn't do this because of this man, the Most High going to put right in front of you. Didn't Elle give you a diagnostic where you saw this about yourself, you saw this about yourself, you saw this about yourself, you saw this, and this. See, you're responsible for what you know. So don't hop in my thing if you ain't ready for that level of accountability and responsibility. Okay? Because a lot of people get real intentional hopping in there and be like, yeah, I want this. Yeah, all right. You're responsible and accountable for what you know. You can no longer say that a man is playing with you, because that's going to put you in a position to choose better if you do the work. Okay? It always starts with self and ends with self too. Okay? So if you're unsure of what's actually running your life, go ahead and take the diagnostic. If the diagnostic reveals emotional inconsistency, then you want to start with emotional foundations. Okay? Now, you want to take this quiz today because the price point on the products that they're offering you is going to change. They were supposed to change yesterday, but I was supposed to go live yesterday. I was tired, so I wasn't going live. So I let it stay over until today. Okay? So if your diagnostic reveals that you have emotional inconsistency, you want to get foundations. Foundations is going to be available to you tomorrow in full form. Okay? Emotional foundations is where we stabilize your emotional baseline and we rebuild your capacity to hold what it is that you say you want. It positions you to be an energetic match to receive what it is you say you want. If you get some information that you have attachment issues, maybe you're anxiously attached, maybe you're avoidant attached, maybe you're those things, it's going to put you and offer you love in the nervous system. And let me tell you something about love in the nervous system. If you got discernment issues, if you got attachment issues, I used to be anxiously attached. I am extremely secure attached now. People would tell you, you talking about queen crash out. Baby, you better text me back in 20 minutes. What do you mean it's been 2 hours? I'm finna be on your line. I'm finna be in your face. I'm finna be like, what's wrong? Did I do something? Yada, 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 yada. Oh my God, it's not like me. Anxious attached. Okay? But here's the thing. The reason why you are attached to things, to people, and all these things, you really are attached to the idea of something. So what I'm teaching you in that class is how to detach. I'm teaching you how to strengthen that discernment, how to not position yourself to continue to get played over and over again by learning how to fill up your own cup. And it's all, anything you buy from me, right? You can implement it the same day. That's the thing about my work. You can take what I give you and you can start implementing it in the next hour, the next week, the next day. It all depends on whether or not you're going to actually start the process. But if you have attachment issues, love in the nervous system is that girl. Love in the nervous system right now is 111. I can tell you right now, that's too low. It's going to be 222 tomorrow. Foundations is 197 right now. It's going to be 297 tomorrow, as in midnight tomorrow. Okay? So if you're interested in that, take the quiz, see where you are, click the link, and go from there. Shamira, that's what I wanted to tell you. That I'm a post this in on Substack as well. But loving the nervous system will set you up for the Muse Activator, because I know you got the results for the Muse Activator. It will position you to be able to receive, which can increase your income financially and different things, so that you can shift into the Muse Activator. Most women who come to work with me normally end up taking a master class or something, and it helps them ascend. And when they ascend, they end up attracting more money, and they attract more money, and they come right back to working with me. I tend to retain clients consistently. Okay, so love of the nervous system is going to be one as well. It's 111. You get a client affirm and afterpay. Love of the nervous system, you get immediate access to. Love of the nervous system has elevated a multitude of women's dating lives. Like I said, my 3 results that I get when women come to work with me: women make more money, women get healthier, women develop better relationships with the masculine, and they develop better relationships in feminine community. Okay? And you do this not by, doing something different, but literally recalibrating. And when you recalibrate, you stop looking for friends and you start appreciating powerful allies. See, the reason why, I'm going to tell y'all something too. A lot of you that are losing people, don't fret, okay? If you are truly ascending, you are positioning yourself to receive allyship. Allyship is way more powerful than friendship. And the reason why I'm going to tell you that is because your friends can, will just accept you as you are. Your friends will just, sometimes aid you in your BS. Your friends will do that. A powerful ally is not going to do that. A powerful ally is not somebody that you're going to talk to every day. A powerful ally is not somebody that, is going to shoot the mess with you. But when you call them, that person can make a decision. That person can make a phone call and something major can happen. See, I thrive and powerful allyship. I have great friends. I have amazing friends. And that's just real. I have amazing friends. My allies, though, my allies have put me in a position to become a multi-6-figure business owner. My allies have put my names in rooms for me to make money. My allies have recommended things for me. My allies have given me, have done trades to give me things that are worth 5 figures, and I didn't have to do anything but just be. Yes, and she said, I have allies. It's powerful. It's important. Women focus on new friendships as they're elevating when they should be focusing on allyship, because it's about the people who can move and shake and make some things happen. Okay? Especially with where we're going. So this is going to be very vital and extremely important. Third thing, if you're a woman who's ready to become the woman who ascends to the next level. So women who join the Muse Activator are women who want to go, honestly, it's women who want to be millionaires. Like, it's not even like, I'm not even going to try to be like, oh, it's small, it's this, it's that. No, it's women who want to be millionaires. When I did my exit interview with one of my clients, I was like, okay, so what's your projected goal for 2026? She said $1 million. Bet. My client before that, when I was talking to her about her goals and what she was going to be doing, she was like, okay, I'm working on a project that's worth about $2 billion right now for this and this and that. Women who are coming into the Muse Activator know that they need to activate their inner muse because they have to inspire investment. I believe that all women are muses. So let me explain a little bit about the Muse Activator. I believe all women are muses, okay? A muse, by definition, is a source of inspiration, right? What does a muse inspire? She inspires people to invest. She inspires corporations to invest. Well, invest what, okay? So first and foremost, invest time, energy, and attention. Let me tell you something. This is how the timeshare people continue to get y'all all day long. This is how salesmen get you all day long. The more time they can get from you, the more energy they can manipulate. The more attention, okay, of yours that they can hold is not too far behind that your money is going to follow. I'll give you a perfect example. When you go to she said, I think I'm on track, sis. I know that's right. When you go to a store, and let's just say you're walking through the mall, and you see this amazing dress in the window, right? It's so beautiful to where you turn around. You're like, oh my God. So you turn around. So automatically that dress has gotten you to invest attention, focus. See, just like that, your focus has gotten shifted. So what you're doing now is going into the store to do what? Investigate. See, that's the first level of investing right there. You investigate before you buy. So you're going to go in, you're going to see if the color is exactly what you want it to be. You're going to touch the fabric. You're going to look at the price tag, and then you're going to decide, the longer you sit there and contemplate, the higher chance it is that you're going to do what? Spend money. Okay? Thank you, my love, for these gifts. Muses inspire people to invest. Investigate them and then invest in them every single time. It doesn't miss. So when women come to work with me in the Muse Activator, we activate what is necessary within you so that you can inspire investigation and investment. And that is my track record. Women end up becoming invested in. They get investigated. First, the process is investigation. Who is that? Oh my God, yeah, she this, she that, she that. Then it goes into, okay, I actually want to buy from her. I actually want to, invest my income in what it is that this person is selling, or I want to buy this dress. That is what the Muse Activator does. It is identity rewiring. It is emotional leadership. It is work that changes your entire life. Okay? So the next cohort of the Muse Activator is actually starting on 12/10, and the Muse Activator is shifting. I'm only going to be doing the Muse Activator twice in 2026. This is the last cohort. Is going to be from December and January, and then the next cohort is going to be next year in May and June, and then the next one won't be until December and January again. Okay? My main program that's going to be running next year is going to be my 6-month program, which is my biggest one, which is for high levels. It's a 5-figure program. It's the Self-Assured Woman. Okay. So that's basically everything that I have for today. What questions do you guys have for me? You can click the link in the bio, like I said, to get access to the diagnostic. One more juicy thing that I will tell you is, if you are a reader, you might want to go over there to my Substack and subscribe. Paid members get the strategy, they get the transformation, they get all that juice. If you come over and you're a free member, you get awareness. Remember what I told you though, you're responsible for what you know. Hell, in society, you're responsible for what you don't know. So you're really responsible for what it is that you know. So when you come over to Substack, understand that you're going to get the strategy. You're going to get the things to be able to support you. It supports your transformation. You can sign up for $22 a month, or you can get it for $222 a year. Okay. Oh, the Muse Activator price point, you can look on my website and see it's $3,500 for 8 weeks. So foundations today, $197. Tomorrow, $297. Okay. Loving the nervous system, $111 today, $222 tomorrow. Okay. The Muse Activated price point is going to stay the same. Substack price is going to stay the same. It's $22 a month for Substack, or $222 a year. And yeah, that's all I got. Any questions? Any comments? Anything? But yeah, y'all, regulation ain't enough. I know you thought it was. I just need to be more emotionally regulated. No, baby, you need to rewire. Regulation is keeping you at survival mode. It's not raising you up. It's not moving you forward. And I always say all the time, there are 3 key things that are necessary if you want to thrive as a woman in this society. Number 1, you need to understand, you need to know spiritual law. Number 2, you need to understand the science of yourself, which is being in sync with your cycle, understanding your feminine science. I went through a stint this year where I was teaching feminine science. So I have some YouTube videos over there talking about feminine science. So you can go over there and learn about feminine science. It's very important. So understanding the science of your femininity will support you in understanding the science of the masculine. If you know yourself, if you truly know the science of your femininity and your feminine energy and your feminine self, you will always understand the masculine, because it's the opposite. And a lot of you don't understand the science of yourself, which is why you be expecting men to be women or perform like women or act like women or all these other things. And it just doesn't work that way. So understanding the science of yourself is number 2. And number 3 is for you to study the generational psychology of your lineage, specifically the women that came before you. Study your mom, study your grandmother, study your great-grandmother, study as far as you can go back. I'm talking about illnesses. I'm talking about how the marriage, the men they chose. I'm talking about you looking at everything, because as much as you think that you are far removed from them because you didn't went to therapy, you are not. And when life hits you with the flex, pressure builds and pressure reveals character. So if you don't deal with you, you're going to get dealt with. And you're going to end up exposing yourself anyway to others. So I always tell people, expose yourself to yourself first. Therefore, when other people try to expose you, it don't even hit the same. You've already freed yourself. The reason why a lot of you try to put this image of performance on is because you're so concerned about what other people are going to say and what other people think. But if you would just expose yourself to yourself, you wouldn't care about none of that. And if you didn't care about any of that, you would live the life that you truly want to live. And women are not living the life that they truly want to live because they're hiding. They're hiding. They're hiding behind regulation. They're not really rewiring. They're not really doing the work. And it shows. It's showing in your relationships. It's showing in your money patterns. It's showing in the way you eat food. I used to be 100 pounds heavier. See, that's why I say your impulsivity and your identity issues are the reason why you emotionally eat, you emotionally hop into bed with somebody, or emotionally just get attached quickly, and you emotionally spend too. All of these things are rooted in impulsivity, quickness, swiftness. But have you ever asked yourself, why is this money burning a hole in my pocket? Have you ever really gotten to the root of that? If not, then you definitely need to take that diagnostic, okay? All right. I'm not seeing any questions. I'm about to eat my meal prep because I'm hungry. Before I go and return some stuff I need to return. I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing, amazing Tuesday. Self-care is the key fundamental of every single relationship. You set the tone of how people treat you by the way you treat yourself, and you should treat yourself exceptionally well because you deserve it. You're welcome. My lives are amazing. That's what I will tell you. But if you want transformation, you're going to have to get this work. You're going to have to invest. And I'm not even just talking about money. Money is the cheapest thing that you can invest working with me, truthfully. The Most High going to always pay me, whether that's through you or somebody else. I'm always getting paid. Never worried about that. The issue at hand is that I need you to invest your time, your energy, and your attention so that you can really change your reality. Because if you're just going to buy a course and it's just going to sit there, don't waste your own time. I don't need your money. And it ain't because I'm rich, but I don't need it if you're going to waste it, because I don't like wasted anything, okay? So make sure that you do the work. So vital and so important. The name is the same on YouTube. And you also can click the link in the bio to subscribe to my YouTube channel, okay? All right, y'all. Let me go ahead and go. I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing